That's me swabbing the DNA of a completely random girl on the streets of Las Vegas, Nevada, so I could clone her in my DNA laboratory. Long story short, I was in my lab and thought I want to clone a random person today. So I took my cloning kit in my hand and went to the streets to find someone that wants to get cloned.
You want to get cloned? I can make two of you. And you can make a better.
I told them I could make a better version of themselves, but they still didn't want to get cloned, so I had to find a person who actually wanted to be cloned. After walking inside for 4 hours, it was time to go outside to see if someone wanted to be cloned. I was not going to give up no matter what. I needed to find someone right now who wanted to be cloned, so I stood on the streets for another 3 hours and a half. And finally, a girl came up to me. Her name was Jasmine, and she said she wanted to be cloned because her dad studied cloning in Harvard University. I told her exactly what I was gonna do, swab the right cheek because that is the best spot to get DNA from somebody. After she agreed, it was time to get her DNA sample so I could go back to my laboratory and clone her. I did a visual check of the saliva and it looked amazing. I then swabbed the inside of her right cheek for 5 seconds and put it back inside my DNA grade 2. After your DNA was completely secured inside my chemical grade DNA case, I shook your hand and told you I will have your clone for you in 4 weeks. Come back. Back at my lab, that is your DNA inside my hand in my chemical grade tube. I then put on my protective eyewear. I opened up your DNA Q-tip swab and put cytochrome 437 solution on top. Once it was secured, I shaked up the DNA to make sure the DNA was inside the liquid particles so I could put it on my microscopic plate and look at it underneath my microscope. I then poured your DNA on my microscopic plate and placed it carefully underneath my microscope so I could zoom in 1000x zoom for you guys to see. First, I had to make sure the DNA was moving under the microscope, and it was. I had my assistant double check, and he said it looked great. This is exactly what we see underneath the microscope. I did a time lapse for you guys so you could see the DNA cells moving. I then put blue sodium liquid hydroxide on top and a little bit of phosphoric acid, and you could see the chemical reaction inside the DNA grade 2. I then poured your DNA down my DNA cylinder incubator. What this is gonna do is house the full membrane in your DNA cells so I could clone it inside my Sub-Zero machine. Once it was inside my Sub-Zero nitrous tank, I then closed it up and let it stay for 48 hours. That's you after only 3 weeks, and soon I will have a beautiful little clone for myself.